Alright, folks, the NFL rumor mill has been churning like never before, and it looks like we might be on the brink of witnessing a major shakeup that could change the landscape of the league. You've heard me right. The buzz right now is that Dak Prescott, the longtime quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, might actually be heading to the Cleveland Browns in the very near future. But there's a twist: this potential move is linked directly to the Cowboys possibly hiring none other than Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, as their next head coach. And on top of that, there's the added possibility that the Cowboys could draft Deion's son, Shedeur Sanders, to be their next quarterback, potentially making Dak expendable. Now, before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's break this down and really dig into what all of this could mean for the future of both the Cowboys and the Browns, as well as the entire NFL. Let's start with Dak Prescott. Dak has been the face of the Dallas Cowboys for years now, ever since he took over as the starting quarterback in 2016. There's no doubt that Prescott has been a highly productive quarterback, putting up solid numbers year after year. However, over the past few seasons, there have been plenty of questions about his ability to get the Cowboys over the hump. He's had his moments of brilliance, of course, like his incredible 2019 season where he threw for over 4,900 yards and 30 touchdowns, but he's also faced inconsistency at times, especially in the postseason. The Cowboys have been one of the most polarizing teams in the NFL, and that's often been due to the performance of their quarterback. With the Cowboys failing to make it past the divisional round in recent years, you can't blame fans for wondering if Dak Prescott is the guy to lead them to a Super Bowl. Now, we've seen the Cowboys front office be notoriously patient with quarterbacks in the past, but could the time finally come for a change? If the Cowboys were to bring in a new coach with a fresh vision, especially someone as dynamic as Deion Sanders, they could very well look to move on from Dak, which would open the door for another team to potentially snatch him up. And here's where things get really interesting: Deion Sanders, one of the most charismatic, successful, and controversial figures in football history, could be the man to take the Cowboys to the next level. For those of you who don't know, Deion Sanders has been absolutely revolutionizing the world of college football over the past few years, first at Jackson State University and now at Colorado. Sanders has proven that his approach to coaching works. He took Jackson State from being a struggling program to one of the most prominent teams in the FCS, winning multiple championships and attracting top-tier recruits from across the country. Now, it's no secret that Deion's ultimate goal is to return to the NFL, and there has been growing speculation that he could be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's not just about his coaching ability either. Deion Sanders brings a level of star power and flair that would undoubtedly shake things up in Dallas. He has the personality and the leadership that could turn the Cowboys into an even bigger media juggernaut than they already are, and his presence would inject a new level of energy and excitement into the team. But let's not forget about the most intriguing part of this story. Deion Sanders isn't just any coach, he's a father with a son who is making a major name for himself in the world of college football. Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son, has been absolutely lighting it up as the quarterback for Jackson State, and now at Colorado, he's showing everyone that he has all the tools to make it at the next level. Shedeur is already being considered one of the top quarterback prospects in college football, with impressive stats that include phenomenal accuracy, poise under pressure, and an ability to make all the right throws in big moments. It's easy to see why Deion would want to bring Shedeur to Dallas if he were to become head coach. Not only does Shedeur have the potential to be a franchise quarterback, but his arrival could help bring a new era to the Cowboys, one that's built on youth, excitement, and a fresh perspective. But of course, if Deion is looking to draft his son, that would undoubtedly leave Dak Prescott on the outs. As much as Dak has done for the Cowboys, the addition of a young, dynamic quarterback like Shedeur could signal the end of his time in Dallas. Now, let's talk about what this all means for Dak Prescott and his potential future in the NFL. If Deion Sanders takes the reins in Dallas and Shedeur is drafted as the new QB of the future, Dak would likely become a trade candidate. That's where the Cleveland Browns come into play. The Browns have been a team in search of a stable, long-term quarterback for what feels like decades. They've tried a number of options, from Baker Mayfield to Deshaun Watson, but they've never been able to find that franchise quarterback who can consistently lead them to the playoffs and beyond. The Browns have a playoff-caliber roster, with stars like Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and a solid offensive line, but the one missing ingredient has always been quarterback play. So, why wouldn't they be interested in a player like Dak Prescott? Dak has shown that he's more than capable of leading a team to the postseason, and he's been consistent enough to build a strong offensive system around him. A trade for Dak would make perfect sense for a team like the Browns, who are in win-now mode and have the supporting cast to make a deep playoff run. Dak would instantly elevate the Browns' offense and bring stability to a position that's been in flux for so long. But the question remains, what would a trade like this actually look like? Well, it would likely involve the Browns sending a combination of draft picks and potentially some players to the Cowboys in exchange for Dak Prescott. Since the Cowboys would be looking to develop Shedeur Sanders, they would need to ensure that they have enough resources to build around him. A first-round pick would likely be involved, perhaps a second-round pick as well, as the Cowboys would need assets to help build a strong supporting cast. Additionally, the Browns could include a player or two, perhaps an established piece on their defense or offensive line in order to balance the trade. The key here is that both teams would benefit. The Cowboys would get a younger, more dynamic quarterback in Shedeur, while the Browns would get the experience and leadership of Dak Prescott. For Cleveland, it's all about finding a quarterback who can take them to the next level, and Dak might just be the answer. Now, let's take a step back and think about what this would mean for the NFL as a whole. If Dak Prescott does end up with the Browns, and if Deion Sanders takes over as the Cowboys head coach with Shedeur as the new quarterback, we could be looking at an entirely new era for both of these teams. The Cowboys would get a fresh start with a dynamic young QB and one of the most captivating coaches in NFL history, while the Browns would finally have the stability they've been searching for under center. It's not just about these two teams, though. The ripple effects of this move would be felt across the league. The NFC East could be wide open, with the Cowboys possibly becoming a more unpredictable and dangerous team with Deion's leadership, while the AFC North could see a dramatic shift if Dak Prescott is able to elevate the Browns' offense to new heights. And don't forget about Shedeur Sanders. If he performs well in Dallas, he could be the future face of the NFL, bringing a new wave of excitement and energy to the league. So, what do you all think about this crazy possibility? Do you believe that Dak Prescott could be the key to the Browns finally reaching their potential? And would you like to see Deion Sanders running the Cowboys with his son Shedeur as the new QB of the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because this is a developing story that could change the course of the NFL for years to come. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss any of the latest updates on this story and all things NFL. I'll be back with more as we continue to follow this insane offseason. Stay tuned, football fans, and I'll catch you in the next video.